National Weather Desk ready for spring? At least one type of the new season begins tomorrow.
Let's talk about the difference between meteorological and astronomical spring.
Hurricane season is still 3 months away. Well,
exactly what's going to be happening there?
Frozen pond drama. Watch as a horse is pulled to safety after falling through ice.
Come on, buddy. Come on, little boy.
Planets on parade. Tonight's your chance to see it.
It's a rare opportunity where all 8 planets, including Earth, line up.
And if you want to see Washington, D.C.'s cherry blossoms, we'll tell you when they're expected to be in peak bloom.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. Thousands of people in the Pacific Northwest are still without power this morning following this week's powerful storms. Wind gusts of up to 70 miles per hour brought down trees and power lines. Jackie Kent found out how some people northwest of Seattle are coping. Whoa. Oh, okay, that's right. Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. Let's talk about this. Tomorrow is the first day of meteorological spring. It always starts on March 1st, unlike astronomical spring, which always starts on the vernal equinox. Confused? I understand. Meteorologist Emily Santom, she's going to have more on that.
Meteorological spring begins this Saturday, and if you're over the cold and the snow, you might just enjoy the upcoming forecast later on this spring. Let's talk about the difference between meteorological and astronomical spring. Meteorological spring runs from March 1st all the way through May 31st, excuse me. Those are the 3 transition months from winter to summer. Astronomical spring begins a little bit later in March on the 20th, runs all the way through June 20th, and it's actually called the spring or vernal equinox, so the sun shines directly over the equator on that day on March 20th.
Keep going.
Another reason for the 2 springs has nothing to do with science. Having spring start on March 1st every year makes collecting data and statistics much easier. Astronomical spring can start on March 19th or the 21st, depending on the year. A sure sign of spring in our nation's capital is, of course, the annual Cherry Blossom Festival. Yesterday, the National Park Service issued its first forecast on when the blossoms are expected to be in peak bloom.
Meteorologist Mark Pena here reporting from the Tidal Basin in Washington, D.C. The National Park Service just announced that the peak bloom date will be on March 28th. So we got about a month until we start seeing peak bloom conditions, but the stages start well before that. The first stage is the green bud, and that usually happens about 20 days before peak bloom. So the first week of March is when we'll start to notice some of those changes here around the Tidal Basin. And we've also got the Seawalk construction project, which is underway. So if you're traveling to Washington to check this out, just know that the path all still open. You just won't have access to where that construction project is. We've got over 2,500 trees that will still be in peak bloom in just a couple of weeks. Reporting from Washington at the Tidal Basin, meteorologist Mark Pena, back to you.
And hundreds of workers at the National Weather Service lost their jobs this week. They're among the 800 or so probationary employees at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, who were fired by the federal government. More layoffs are possible today as well. Meteorologists across the country rely on data from the National Weather Service to create local forecasts. NOAA also studies and also produces critical data on oceans, biodiversity, climate, and other research. The National Hurricane Center is also a part of NOAA, and while hurricane season doesn't officially start until June 1st, people already are looking ahead at what kind of year we can expect. Here's meteorologist Alex Garcia.
We're less than 100 days away from the hurricane season, and already we're looking out to the Pacific to see exactly what's going to be happening there. Is it going to be La Nina or is it going to be El Nino? That's the big question. Right now, the trend is the waters are beginning to warm just a little bit. So that puts us in a neutral situation. So that means it's not La and it's not El Nino. That means we're kind of in the middle. And so when we look at forecasts, that means we're looking for long-term ranges here because we're not going to have a suppression or an encouragement either way. Long-term forecasts are kind of giving us an idea there could be 10 to 15 tropical systems this year, and the eastern seaboard looks like it could have an above normal probability of seeing a storm this time around.
March is when many birds begin their migration back north. That includes the ruby-throated hummingbird. Meteorologist Jeff Exline gives us a closer look at the path they will take this spring.
There are many signs of spring. Some say seeing a robin is a sign that spring is right around the corner. What about the hummingbirds when they make their appearance? Well, beginning in March, they'll make their migration northward. So Florida, the extreme southeastern Gulf states, March 1st through the first half of the month, they'll see the hummingbirds return. They'll return to Atlanta the second half of March, and then April, that's when they'll start lifting into the Carolinas and eventually up towards the Mason-Dixon line into the Ohio Valley. And then by May, they're all the way up into Canada and northern sections of New England. So starting in March, the ruby-throated hummingbird will make its migration northward.
NASA is preparing for a launch this weekend and a mission they hope will help them learn more about the sun and solar winds. Meteorologist Joe DiCarlo is in San Antonio, which is playing a major role in making the mission a reality.
Texas is definitely expanding and turning out to be a leader in part of the space economy.
Dr. Heather Elliott is a scientist at Southwest Research Institute in San Antonio, where design and building of 4 spacecraft set to be launched this weekend by NASA were constructed.
So they built all 4 spacecraft in that building. The Institute also built the 3 Wi-Fi, which are the wide field imager cameras, as well, all in San Antonio.
This mission, set for launch Sunday evening from Vandenberg Space Force Base in California, is called the PUNCH mission, which stands for Polarimeter to Unify the Corona and Heliosphere.
The PUNCH mission is a mission to look at the corona and the solar wind and to take movies of it so we can see what features are coming towards us.
Dr. Craig DeForest is principal investigator for PUNCH.
With PUNCH, we're trying to understand the corona of the sun and the solar wind, which fills the solar system and washes over the planets, including ours.
Each spacecraft is small, about the size of an average desk, and will be launched by a SpaceX rocket into low orbit. The spacecrafts will then circle the Earth for 2 years, possibly more.
We have the capability to operate for much longer than that.
And it's not just this mission that San Antonio scientists are working on.
We have the IMAP mission, which is going to launch, which is scheduled to launch in late September. That one's going to launch from Cape Kennedy.
Some frightening moments north of Albany, New York, after a trio of horses ventured out on an icy pond and one actually fell through. Emma Quinn is in Saratoga Springs with more.
Sly is a 22-year-old horse who lives on Allie Ernst's family farm.
I've had him his whole life. I had his mother. He was born at the farm.
On Monday, Allie thought she was going to lose Sly.
1, 2, 3. Come on, buddy. Come on, little boy. Let's go.
3 horses were out on a pond. Sly fell through the ice.
All the years, we've had horses on that field my whole life, and I always knew it was a risk, and I've put I've put electric fences up, I've put posts up, and he takes them down and spends his time on the ice. I think just the warm day and the sun beating on it gave him a thin spot, and he passed it.
She held on to the 1,300-pound horse's harness to keep him afloat until help came, capturing this photo, thinking it was the last.
I didn't think we were going to get him out. I didn't think that help was going to get there in time.
The Saratoga Springs Police and Fire Departments, neighbors, and family helped tie ropes to Sly and pulled him out. Here's body camera video from one of the officers.
1, 2, 3. Come on. Come on. Oh. Come on. Come on. Come on, old boy. We got you. Come on. Oh. He's up. Just watch out. He's going to pop up. Easy. Easy. Got him right off.
There's 9 to 10 guys on the ice that helped us get him out.
Luckily, Sly made a full recovery.
And now let's check to see the weather in cities across the country today. We start in Asheville, North Carolina. Well, Interstate 40 will partially reopen this weekend. For the first time since Hurricane Helene, the weather should cooperate with sunny skies and highs in the low 60s today and tomorrow. Red flag warnings are posted for most of Iowa, Nebraska, and Missouri today as well. You have low humidity and wind gusts up to 35 miles an hour is creating critical fire weather conditions. There's a winter storm warning through early tomorrow morning in northern Michigan. The forecast calls for up to 10 inches of snow and wind gusts as strong as 45 miles per hour. And beach season is still a few months away here in Wildwood, New Jersey. Today's high will be around 48 degrees. We'll be right back.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with Look at the Northeast. Today will feature a lot of sun in the Northeast. It gets windy though. Temperatures will be in the 30s to near 40 in some spots. Next weather maker is that one right there with some snow moving into New York and eventually parts of New England for the nighttime hours for our Friday night here. The back edge of that moves out early Saturday, and there will be some rain showers lingering in southern New England. Look at the temperatures surge into the 50s for parts of the Northeast, while other parts of the Northeast stay in the 20s. 20s will be common on Sunday.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Javali. Here's a look at the mid-Atlantic region. Your Friday's nice and dry. We're not going to see much of anything except a lot of sunshine. And going into Saturday, another stronger front's going to roll through, which means a big dip in your temperatures, especially as we get into late Saturday. Your Friday afternoon, upper 40s to low 50s across most of the region here. Getting into Saturday, that colder air is going to start nudging its way in. We'll see our temperatures dropping as we get through the day. 40s may be around at 3 o'clock with 20s in the mountains.
I'm meteorologist Vetus Reed. Here's a look at your southeast forecast highs. We're looking at 71 in Birmingham, Mobile coming in at 72, Raleigh 65, Charleston 69 degrees. We're in those upper 70s, brushing 80 degrees for Tampa, and West Palm nice and warm in Florida. So we're looking at clear skies over the southeast. Not much of anything going on. We'll stay nice and clear for Atlanta along the I-95 corridor through Raleigh, Columbia, down through portions of southern portions of Mississippi, Biloxi, New Orleans looking nice and clear going through the afternoon, and the overnight nice and quiet.
Presented by the National Weather Desk.
A rainbow after the squall. This lovely bow appeared after a squall dropped small pea-sized hail along the way through Alexandria, Virginia Thursday evening, and a collection of beautiful sunrises and shadows over Perdido Bay, Alabama, between Mobile and Pensacola. Here's Lake Ouachita in Arkansas, southwest of Little Rock, and this cool sunrise shadow cast by Mount Baker in Washington.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on Instagram.
With the calendar flipping to March tomorrow, the peak strawberry season is now underway in California. So too is optimism for the local farmers who hope the crop will yield a successful harvest. Dave Alley has more.
Rows and rows of strawberries soak up the Santa Maria sun Wednesday morning.
It's the #1 crop in the area, and the Santa Maria area is now the largest production area in the world.
More than 6,000 acres of Santa Maria Valley land are used to grow strawberries. It's by far the top crop in Santa Barbara County and an essential driver of the local economy.
A lot of families depends on the strawberry industry. It's a lot, it involves a lot, so we all excited, when this, at this time of the year.
When the peak of strawberry season here begins to kick in.
Now it's kind of like Christmas morning to where we're all ready to open the packages, and packages are the red gems here behind me.
While the weather has been mostly dry over the last several months, including this current winter, growing conditions for these berries out here in these fields have not been adversely affected.
We need good sunshine because nothing makes the world grow more than sunlight does.
As temperatures rise, followed by production ramping up, traffic is also increasing at local strawberry stands.
We're doing really good. It seems like the weather's helping now. We need more sun, and it seems like it's going to be a good year.
As growers look ahead, they're hopeful and optimistic as they produce Santa Maria's most famous fruit.
Right now, they're big, they're pretty, they last longer, they have good flavor. And I love my customers because they're always happy.
Go out and buy California strawberries, and that's something that everyone will agree upon. Enjoy, because we're making more.
A group in Montana is inspiring women to get out and enjoy the backcountry while learning the skills to stay safe. Laurel Staples joins them to find out how they are motivating others.
We have a lot of fun. And we leave no trace.
Nancy Brown formed the group in 2016 and teaches classes in hiking and snowshoeing in the backcountry through Heart of the Valley Adult Education in Corvallis.
My main purpose was to get women out into the wilderness and to be able to enjoy nature and learn some skills that would help keep them safe in the backcountry.
I love these women. We have fun, and it's just every day is an amazing day when you're out in the woods.
With snowshoes on, along with getting a little encouragement from this friendly pup, I'm ready. We first crossed to the south side of Highway 43 to follow a nearly 3-mile ungroomed stretch into the wilderness. The snowshoes making it much easier to access this winter wonderland in the backcountry. We snowshoe along the Continental Divide, catching stunning mountain views like this one.
This is awesome. I mean, look at it. It's beautiful here. You can't get much better than this.
We also have some fun putting our snowshoeing skills to the test in this race, and later making snow angels. The group then presents me with a backcountry essential, a wallet made out of duct tape.
I have a match striker, and I carry matches, and usually a Band-Aid and something like a wet wipe or Deep Woods Off. Anyway, the adventure wallet, and all my friends now have an adventure wallet, and so do you.
Nearby, I spot cross-country skiers enjoying the fresh snow as well. The trail takes us back to Highway 43, where we also test out the groomed trails north of the highway, with this one leading to the Gordon Reese cabin, where visitors get a chance to warm up while admiring this view of the East Pioneer Mountains. Another adventure inspired by a special group, bringing women together, helping them to connect with the great outdoors.
Standing tall in central Nebraska, an eastern cottonwood tree has witnessed more than a century of history. Now it's making history itself as the largest of its kind in the country and possibly even the world. Steve White has more.
A living monument, this eastern cottonwood stands ashore of the lake where Alan Bartles spent many childhood days.
Fishing, catching turtles, getting muddy, stuff like that.
Now Alan works for the Lower Loop Natural Resources District, owner of Pybel Lake. Many think of the NRD staff as the tree people.
You guys plant trees, and they're correct on that, and we've been doing that from day one.
More than 100 million planted statewide, providing windbreaks that help keep Nebraska's precious soil in place. This cottonwood came long before those efforts, estimated to be more than a century old, growing into this behemoth.
Yeah, it's big and you notice it, but it's not till you get right up on it that you notice the enormity of this thing. It's just 37.2 feet around, 85 feet tall, and the crown of the tree is 120 feet. It's just giant in every way.
Of 546 national champion trees, it's the only one from the Cornhusker State. Appropriately so, as the cottonwood is the state tree.
As a native Nebraskan, I'm pretty proud of that.
More than a scenic backdrop to a fishing trip, trees are part of the green infrastructure.
Harbors a lot of native insects eating it. Then there are a lot of birds eating those insects. And then, of course, it's providing canopy, shade, and cover to birds, all kinds of mammals, deer and turkey.
Foresters say trees like this make for a cooler, cleaner environment that promotes biodiversity.
And it really is its own little ecosystem.
That's the power of a tree. Settlers once thought of Nebraska as
windy prairies and treeless.
But now it's the tree planting state. And this eastern cottonwood is a survivor that shows the lasting impact of Nebraska's deep roots in conservation.
You have probably heard about the so-called planetary parade that has been going on this week. Don't worry, if you haven't seen it yet, you can still get a great view tonight. Meteorologist Christina Ernie posted on TikTok about just how rare this nighttime lineup really is. Take a look.
A rare astronomical event is taking place. Are you excited for it? It's called the Planetary Parade, and it's a rare opportunity where all 8 planets, including Earth, line up, or at least to our eye on Earth, it looks like all planets will be in alignment. You might be thinking, why is this so special? Each planet orbits around the sun at a different speed, so it's pretty rare that they actually time out to meet and make this perfect alignment. I mean, it's a huge time difference. Here's the order of the planets and how long it takes each of them to get around the sun. There's also a school of thought, too, that thinks that this planetary alignment is coming at a time where the sun is seeing more coronal mass ejections. The pull of all of these planets might be triggering more of that from the sun, which gives us the aurora borealis. Either way, make sure you're checking your local forecast so you can see it Friday night.
And time now for a short break, but first we take to the skies over Utah's Arches National Park.
Well, a very good Friday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buck-Michael. Snow passing by just to the north of the Great Lakes as we go through your day today. Most of the Midwest dealing with a lot of sunshine and warmer temperatures mixed with a few clouds. But look at that, 73 in Wichita today. Heading into the day tomorrow, colder air is moving in, so we will cool down a little bit as we head into the weekend. But all in all, pretty quiet for most of the Midwest this weekend.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. Here's a look at your regional weather. We start off a little cool up in Amarillo, back over into Midland, even El Paso and Oklahoma, down in 30s and 40s. We're seeing 50s and 60s on down to the south. Cold front well down to the south. We're going to see some clouds break up, more sunshine today. That means a warmer day, but here comes the next cold front that could be bringing some cooler temperatures. I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. That's a look at your regional weather.
Well, hi there, everybody, and a good Friday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. The grand finale of February, and it looks and feels like spring out west. We're still talking about highs well into the 80s around Phoenix and Tucson. Not as hot as it was earlier in the week for the spring training baseball Cactus League, but still plenty mild there. 60s out of Portland, 57 today out of Spokane. Still looking at high pressure ruling things here over the Four Corners region. That sunshine stretching all the way on into British Columbia and Alberta. And that's the scene from here.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
This week on our podcast, Off the Radar, Emily Gracie spoke to a Google scientist about their new AI weather forecasting model, GenCast. Here's a short preview.
What if we could predict exactly when that storm will hit your neighborhood? Not a 60% chance of rain tomorrow, but a heavy downpour at 2:17 p.m. on your street corner. AI is transforming weather forecasting in ways that seemed impossible just years ago. And on the cutting edge of that research is Google DeepMind. Their latest AI forecast model, GenCast, claims to provide more accurate forecasts than the current top operational forecast model, up to 15 days in advance. This week, we're going off the radar with the creators of GenCast to find out how it works.
Sometimes it's really important to know that there's a small chance of a really bad thing happening. And if you're only ever going to give the most likely prediction, you might miss that risk is something that you need to account for and you need to prepare for.
Are we to perfect forecasts? And what fundamental limits might we never overcome?
It's a challenge. I think data is going to be the big bump in the road. We need higher resolution data and we need data globally everywhere.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great Friday and have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you right back here on Monday.